Okay, how to easily take 10 minutes off your half marathon in 15 weeks. Now, I got the perfect question in the comments below. Thanks for this, Lee. I can currently run a half in 1 hour, 30 minutes. I have my goal half marathon race in 15 weeks. Any tips on how I can get to sub 120? Thanks. Now, I always love questions like this because it's somebody who's aiming high. And if we look at 90 minutes or 1 hour 30, that's 90 minutes, and so 10% quicker is 121, so we're aiming for 120. I need to always know a little bit more. It cannot just be that question. We need to know the starting point. And I don't need to know War and Peace, so I cannot know War and Peace on YouTube. But I need to know the fundamentals of what's going on behind the scenes. When I'm coaching somebody, that's a really detailed conversation over a long period of time, and we get to a point where we're really confident on the strategy and plan that we're going to take to get you to move forward, to gain that extra 10 minutes in this case, from 130 to 120. But in this case, this was the question I asked. Great question. Let me give you a proper answer. What's your running and sports background? And he answers, and he's called the Poignant Poet, which I really love. I'm 32. I used to run when I was much younger, aged between 13 and 15, ran between 400 and 800 meters, but I never took it seriously enough to compete. However, I'm training 1 year now, and I've got my 5K time down from 26 minutes to 19:35. And this is the important stuff. This is kind of looking a little bit under the bonnet, literally just scratching the surface, as I often say. What is this person capable of? What is his starting point, and where is he right now? What is he prepared to do in order to hit his goal of running 10 minutes faster for a half marathon? Bear in mind, at this point, that is 2 to 2.5 kilometers faster, maybe even a little bit further. So it's a big gain, but it's absolutely possible. If you've literally from a starting point, 12 months ago, you were running 26 minutes for the 5K, and you've got that to 19:35, the world's your oyster. And you're in this great phase where it's an upward curve, it's very exciting, should have lots of enthusiasm, you're good to really, really go at this. So first of all, we need to look at pacing, both for the 1 hour 30 half marathon and for the 1 hour 20. For the 1 hour 30, that's 4:16 per kilometer, or around about 7 minutes per mile. And for the 120 half marathon, that's 3:47 per kilometer, or around about 6 miles. So we're asking to make a relatively big jump, but he's got 15 weeks to play with, and he's very, very early in his journey. Here's how I would tackle it. He's clearly motivated if he's moved from 26 minutes for the 5K, and he's not done that on day one of his training, but he's moved from 26 minutes for the 5K to 19:35. So he's comfortable at running sub 4 minutes per kilometer for the shorter distances. We've got to tap into that, and we've got to improve it. So we want to be improving the 5K and his 10K capability along the way. So we want to tap into more speed because we want to get him comfortable at running and holding 3:47 per kilometer for the entire distance of half marathon, 21K or 13 miles. So we've got to get him comfortable at that distance. So how do we do that? We're going to do that in the interval session, and we're going to do it in the long run. And here's how I would go about it. Give yourself 13 weeks before the race, which gives you 10 to 11 weeks of specific training. We're also going to train up towards that for the next couple of weeks. And then I give myself about 10 to 14 day taper when I'm bringing back the volume, but keeping the intensity. So you keep that zip in your legs and you're good to go on half marathon day. Now, this is how I would be attacking it. This is a great goal, and it's 10 minutes faster than what you currently are running at the moment, and almost 10%. And more than 10%. And the way I would then attack it is, I'm going to go for this, and I'm going to either win and hit a massive PB, or I'm going to learn, and I may fall short, but I'm going to have my hat in the ring. And the type of personality, just by asking the questions, and also the progression from 26 minutes to 19 minutes, means that if he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. He's got his hat in the ring and he's making it happen. So if you get there to race day and you've done 80% of the sessions, you're good to go because you're a competitive animal. And if you get there on race day, you're not gonna let yourself down, or you're going to, and by not letting yourself down, I mean that you're going to give it absolutely everything that you can. And if that means that you get to 18K or 16K or 20K, and the wheels fall off and it doesn't happen for you that day, you've succeeded. For me, it's a massive success to go for something so high that it seems unachievable, but it's really exciting to go for, than to aim low and just keep on ticking these boxes. I speak to so many people that have ran 3:02, 3:03 for the marathon and want to dip under 3 minutes, 3 hours. For me, it's just, read this book and you're good to go. It's as simple as that. But if you want to really go for 10, 15, 20% improvements, I'm your man. And so the goal is exciting enough, and it's going to keep him getting out of bed. I'll break up the week like this: 2 recovery runs, 2 easy runs, and keeping those easy enough. The effort is easy enough, constantly checking on my body. Am I looking after my body? My sleep, reduced stress, diet, hydration, is it all on track? Am I setting myself up for success? Am I giving my body the best possible chance to succeed in the interval session and the long run? Now, for the interval session, we're going to be working at that 3:47 pace and 10% faster. So we break that up. It's 3:35 to 3:30 we want to be working at when we're going 10% faster, and then 3:47 for a lot of the intervals. So when we're doing longer intervals, or initially with shorter intervals, we're getting used to moving over the ground at 3:47. Now, if you can run 19:30 for 5K, then he's probably quite comfortable, and we don't want to assume too much. I've only literally received those 2 messages, but he's probably quite comfortable of doing a 400-meter repeat in around 3:47 or much faster. And the fact that he's got some kind of background, although it's a long time ago in 400, 800-meter running, probably he understands structure, but again, we don't want to assume something. What I would like to see him do in the first 2 to 3 weeks starting his program is get to a point where he can run 6 times a kilometer at 3:47 or a little bit faster. So we're not pushing it too much. We're not trying to break the world in the first 3 weeks. We're just getting comfortable at running half marathon pace. And then what we're going to do throughout the interval sessions, throughout the training schedule, is gradually bring that time down a little bit. So gradually bring it to 3:40, then 3:35, then 3:30, and ideally in weeks 8, 9, 10, we want to be comfortable at doing kilometer repeats. For example, it would be different than this, but for example, we want to be comfortable at doing 6 or 8 times 1,000 meters in 3:30. That sets us up really well to run a half marathon in 1 hour 20, really, really well. And it boosts your confidence. And not just that, all this pace and that running economy, that improved efficiency at moving over the ground, all feeds really nicely into your long run. And this is where the magic is really going to happen, in addition to the interval session. What we're going to do in the long run is initially just long, slow distance, especially for the next couple of weeks until you start this 13-week specific training schedule. Just long, slow distance. So whatever your starting point is right now, if you've been half marathon training in the past and you've kept that up, your starting point might be 20 kilometers for the long run. It might be 10 at the moment. Start at your starting point, just long, slow distance. And if you can increase that a little bit over the next 2 to 3 weeks, put yourself in a place where you can run 16 to 18 kilometers, the really nice starting point to start to add in specificity. What I mean by that is we want to be running segments at race pace. And that might look like an hour long run. First 20 minutes is pretty comfortable for us, 4:15, 4:30. Middle 20 minutes is at 3:47 or 3:45 or a little bit quite quicker than that. And again, we've got to let the training come to us. So if you try to chase these intervals and you're trying to check, just about finished, but my heart rate is sky high and I can't really bring my heart rate down during the 60 seconds recovery, it's going to blow up on you and you're not going to be able to complete the session. We've got to be ticking these boxes in order to complete the session, in order to move on to the next week as in control as we possibly can, so that it's not difficult for us to do that and move on to the next week. Incredibly important. Then what we want to do is gradually increase the amount of distance that we do in that long run at half marathon pace or quicker. So a typical session might be, I'll do these sessions a lot, where it'll be an hour and a half long run. First 30 minutes is maybe 4 minutes to 4:15, probably 4:15 to 4:30 for this question. And then I'm going to do that middle 30 minutes at half marathon pace, or try and pinch 3:40 per kilometer. Again, we're constantly making half marathon pace feel easy. And then the last 30 minutes might be 4:15, 4:30 again. So overall, we're getting 90 minutes, you're getting a lot of distance there, but the key point is that specific 30 minutes in the middle is at half marathon pace, it's at race pace. And if we're spending volume and time there and a little bit quicker, again, it's making us feel comfortable at race pace. So what that means for race day is that if we're able to feel comfortable for the first 15, 16, 18, 20 kilometers, probably 18 kilometers, if we're able to feel comfortable so that we feel like we're running with the handbrake on, half marathon, difficult to judge. It's not like we've got to get the nutrition right, we've got to get this right, we've got to get that. It is a little bit of that, but not like the marathon or ultra marathon running. A lot of the half marathon is us being on a limit and a high heart rate throughout so that we're able to hit an optimal target. What I want from the training, the intervals and the long run specifically, is to make as much of that half marathon at 3:47 per kilometer feel comfortable so that you can let rip in the final 2-3 kilometers and actually beat that 1 hour 20 target time. Good luck. It's a great question, and I love your ambition. I love that you're going for something, and I think you can do it without a doubt. You can knock 10 minutes off your time if you put this 15 weeks together. Absolutely, you can do it. Good luck.